For me, it was kind of a higher level confidence that I had a resource to field my questions, to raise my concerns, and know that I was getting advice and recommendations that were experienced. So I can't say that it was, one particular aspect. And anybody that has been in the franchise world knows that there are so many aspects to franchising, from, as we talked about, the franchise disclosure document with all the legal requirements, pivoting that from a legal document into a sales component where you're interacting with potential franchisees to share the spirit, the core values of your franchise and why you would like them to join your franchise, your team. And then there's just the blocking and tackling. Anybody, again, that has looked at franchise documents, I don't want to count the pages, but they're totaling over 500. I know our franchise disclosure document is 200 plus. Our operations manual, I think, is bumping up against 275 pages. There's a lot of detail and work. And to have that resource that you are confident is providing the right direction is key. They'll give you guidance beyond putting those documents together. So we landed our first franchisee because we attended a show in Dallas. I would not have attended that show but for SMB and particularly Don Abamondi suggesting I attend the show. They gave you a comfort level. The booth I was in was across from SMB advisors. So you had that feeling of protection or comfort that, yes, if there's something that comes up, I have a resource that I can ask the question to. So again, as you think about the franchise model, you'll recognize, and I'm sure you'll ask this question at some point because it's a question that comes up often about the difference between operating a restaurant and operating a franchise, but you're transitioning to a different structure. And when it's just one or two members of your team, in this case, it's predominantly me and then Tiffany supporting me, to know that you can pick up the phone or send an email and you're going to get a response. When you're looking at getting a franchisee and you want to make sure that the franchisee fits your thoughts of the ideal franchisee, what resources can you rely on to find out for that franchisee? That's one email to SMB with a suggestion of one or two other resources to provide that particular service. You could certainly find that information out with other resources, Google and otherwise, but it streamlines that process. Literally in 30 seconds, I have my answer. So I know you asked me particularly what it is about SMB that would resonate with me as impactful along our franchise process. But it was just knowing that if I looked to my left, I was going to be able to reach out to SMB and get a response and a trusted resource that would answer my question. We're still young in the process, so we franchised formally about 8 months ago. We have signed our first franchisee who has identified a location, and we're anticipating signing our second franchisee shortly. So for us, our goal was to grow organically. Within the first year, our target was 3 franchisees. So we're on pace, knock on wood, we're on pace to hit that. So we're still young in our franchise development. I will say this, I practiced law for several years, and as an attorney, you are a consultant and a counselor for your client. You're providing them the guidance, the resources, and the answers for that client to execute their business strategy. Not dissimilar to what SMB provided for T2D, Roots Chicken Shak, when we start the franchise process. So for me, the franchisor hat reminds me more of the days I practiced law than the days I was managing the floor of one of our restaurants. For me, it is being that guide, that resource, that salesperson, that operations expert that provides that guidance for those franchisees. Questions of, if you're negotiating a lease, what's the role of the franchisor to provide guidance with the lease? When there's insurance requirements and the franchisee has been an operator but hasn't been an owner, and they're now wading in waters that they haven't been in before relative to where they find those resources, where they find insurance coverage, how they're going to negotiate different terms. I find that the role of the franchisor is being that guide, that advisor for the franchisee. So again, a little bit like SMB is to the franchisor, when you're going through that process and you say, I wonder what it's going to be like when I'm the franchisor selling franchisee opportunities. just look at what SMB is providing for you through that process and realize that's what you're going to develop or focus on as you think about being the franchisor and helping your franchisees be successful.